Good morning, everybody. What is going on, everybody? Top of the morning to you, Thursday, October 17th at 8 a.m. Welcome to the Skalij Show. Thank you very much for hanging out on this beautiful Thursday morning. Hopefully everybody's kind of a good start to your day here. Got a lot of comments already, people chiming in, so thank you for hanging out. Your cup of coffee, your cup of joe. Hope you guys are enjoying a nice cup of coffee this morning. Maybe you're doing tea. Maybe you're doing some lemon water. Whatever it is that you're doing, whatever the hell gets you up in the morning, go make it happen. We got a lot to get into on this Thursday morning. A lot going on. By the way, I just broke my mug. I got a solid mug, man. Got this damn thing from Big Bear years ago. It's gone, bro. It's gone. It's done. That's it. It's gone. Dropped it. Making a cup of coffee. A little bit of a rush here this morning. A lot going on. Show's about to start at 8. Let me get a couple shots in here real quick. Broke the damn mug. Okay. All right, let's get into it. Broke the damn mug, guys. It's a good mug. Went years. It was a solid mug that I had for years. Gone in a split second. Just like that, it's gone. Just like that, it's gone. All right, give everybody a quick idea what we're going to do on today's show. So, obviously, we're going to talk about Dodgers dominating the Mets yesterday. What's going on with the Dodgers? Do they all of a sudden have starting pitching too? If they all of a sudden have starting pitching, I don't know how anybody's going to beat the Dodgers. I really have no idea. But we'll talk about Walker Buehler's performance. How about some of these other players? You know, I think it's so easy. You'll see Shohei Ohtani hit that 3-run blast yesterday. Game was already over. It's the other players. Tommy Edman, Kiki Hernandez, obviously what Walker Buehler did. There's a lot of other Dodgers that are contributing that I think probably are not going to get the love or the credit that they do because they're not marquee names that I think have had, obviously a huge impact so far. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Lakers or a Game 4 coming up. They're playing 3 days in a row. So Dodgers Mets will have Game 4 coming up a little bit later today. I think it's at 5:08. Probably not at 5:05. Probably not at 5:10, but probably right around 5:08. Lakers got a game coming up a little bit later today. So they got 2 more preseason games left. Sammy Long, as you guys know, Sammy, he's putting some content up on the channel as well, previewing a lot of these games coming up, and he's going to do it for the entire year. So Sammy's going to be doing that. He'll come on and we'll talk about it. And then I got a question about coffee. I ordered some coffee yesterday for one of my cousins. And I got to kind of walk you guys through all of this because what happened to coffee orders? What happened? What happened to coffee orders? Coffee orders used to just be simple. Hey, I'll just get a cup of coffee. I want to walk through you guys his actual coffee order, and I still don't understand what I ordered for this guy. All right, so we're going to get into all that. As far as some of the comments go, people already brewing my fresh ground Colombian beans from Mod Cup Roasters in my V60, my mug, roasters in downtown LA. All right, solid. They make you break mugs. Yep, I see what the Padres did. No, Padres, no problem. I'll break a mug. Upset at the Padres, no question about it. Somebody asked me here, Slee, are you now rooting for the Dodgers? I'm a Padres fan, man. I'm a Padres fan that happens to have a lot of Dodger fans that listen to me. Good morning, Slee. I got my cup of Joe ready to go. All right, cheers to you, brother. Cheers to you. All right, let's get started here. So last night, Dodgers, Mets. Listen, every game in the playoffs is critical. So when I say it's a critical Game 3, I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. Every game is critical in the postseason. And really, I think the question is just going to be, are you finding a way to, I guess, steal home field back because the Dodgers had lost Game 3 or Game 2 from Dodger Stadium? And we got that answer pretty early on in that game. Well, not necessarily pretty early on, but they dominated yesterday. But the way they dominated, maybe a little bit different than you thought they would. I'm going to have this just highlight playing because Walker Buehler yesterday, if you guys remember when I did the show yesterday, I said that there were a lot of articles on the LA Times, and I felt like a lot of the things I was reading was a lot of confidence for some reason with Walker Buehler on the mound, and I couldn't really understand it. I think I talked about my example that when the Padres in the playoffs against Walker Buehler. It was Michael King versus Walker Buehler. It was game 3, kind of you can call it a similar situation, but it was game 3. I know it was different in the sense that that game was at San Diego. Dodgers were now on the road in New York. But anyways, long story short, I didn't really see the same confidence. I understand the man had a ton of experience. I understand what he was able to do in some big moments in the playoffs. But at the end of the day, what does your stuff look like? And, Walker Buehler, I did not feel like was giving too much confidence in the fact that, hey, this guy, he's going to give up. The question is how many runs he's going to give up, not is he going to give up any runs. Walker Buehler yesterday against the Dodgers. This was the game right here. And you guys are watching the highlight. This is the game. Bases are loaded with Francisco Lindor. By the way, there was one out, and he got the number 9 batter to strike out as well. So he struck out 2 in a row in that second inning with the bases loaded. But Lindor up on a 3-2 count throws a knuckle curve to Francisco Lindor. And I was reading a lot of his comments post-game and reading a lot of basically kind of his strategy going into that. Most of the time for a player like Walker Buehler has depended so much on his fastball. He talked about how just kind of this new world that he's in where he now has to depend on a lot of off-speed stuff, a lot of breaking balls, a lot of location. I mean, Walker Buehler is becoming a different pitcher in front of our eyes, not because he wants to, because he really has no choice after those 2 Tommy Johns. And I know there's probably, however, I was reading a lot of the comments yesterday, and, I think some Dodger fans felt a certain way about having Walker Buehler take game 3. Walker Buehler was getting the ball in game 3 as a necessity, not necessarily a luxury. And that's just the situation that the Dodgers are in. But here's what Walker Buehler did yesterday on the road in New York in a critical game 3. Pitched 4 innings for the Dodgers, gave up 3 hits, did have 3 base on balls, which you never want to have. 0 earned runs. And I think for me, the biggest stat of anything that Walker Buehler did yesterday, he had 6 Ks. So Walker Buehler in a critical game where, you're going to have, however the Dodgers set up their rotation. I know Yamamoto's going tonight. Flaherty obviously is going to get another start as well. To have the starter that you think if you're the opposing team, all right, we got to get this game against Walker Buehler because I don't know. Yamamoto can go 6 or 7 innings of scoreless ball. Jack Flaherty can go 6 or 7 innings with a scoreless ball. The bullpen for the Los Angeles Dodgers has been incredible. I don't need to tell anybody how incredible the Dodgers bullpen has been, especially their top guys. You have to feel like if you're the opposing team, you have to get that W against Walker Buehler. They couldn't. He pitched 4 innings. I think he ended up pitching 90. I think he threw 90 pitches total. But by the time that inning ended and he closed out 4, he looked great. He looked incredible. He looked confident. His pitches had a ton of movement. And I just say this because I was one of the first ones yesterday to grab this beautiful microphone and tell listeners of this show, I don't know how you can have confidence with Walker Buehler having the ball on the mound. And every single start that he's had, now he's only had 2 starts in the postseason, but he pitched a very critical game 3 in San Diego. It said he gave up 6 earned runs, but really it was just a poor defensive inning for the Dodgers. Miguel Rojas had a questionable decision. You remember Freddie Freeman throwing the ball and it hits Machado in the helmet, and that ricochets off. It wasn't like he got pounded. Now, Peralta hit one down the line. Tatis hit a 2-run homer off of him. But what Walker Buehler's been able to do in the playoffs is survive. Not necessarily thrive. I mean, yesterday you can use that term thrive, but there were certainly some times where there was traffic on the bases and you just felt like, okay, at some point, Walker Buehler is going to give up some runs. He didn't. And in the biggest moment of the game, yesterday's game, don't look past that second inning bases loaded Lindor at the plate. That was the ball game for the Los Angeles Dodgers because even if it's just a base hit, even if he walks in a run, all right, what does that do to the psyche of Walker Buehler. Okay, what does that do to Dave Roberts? How quick is he to say, I got to go to my bullpen? He didn't have to do that. And he got to save his bullpen, and he got to save a lot of his top relievers and his top guys. And I know, a few of them were in there yesterday. Kopech was in there. Trinan was in there. But he got through 4 innings. He got 4 innings out of Walker Buehler and the Dodgers with another shutout. I mean, incredible here. The Dodgers now, I want to say 3 of the last 4 games, they haven't given up a run. 3 of the last 4 games, the Dodgers haven't given up a run. I was surprised to see it. I really was. I thought I'm going to give Walker Buehler a ton of credit, because I did not think, if you'd have told me, and I think this was, and I still believe what I said yesterday, that if you'd have told me a scenario, he was going to go 4 innings and not give up any runs, or he was going to go 3 innings and give up 3 runs, I would think it's more likely he's going to go 3 innings and give up 3 runs. He didn't do that yesterday. He was able to take a lot of that stuff that he's learned in the past, experience, high leverage situations. That part of him, it's in him. That's in his DNA. He likes the big moments. But when you have 2 Tommy Johns, you also are questioning yourself. Do I question my stuff? Do I feel like, guys are going to be on top of, are they a step ahead of me? And if you don't have that mental piece as a pitcher, then really what do you have when you go up to the mound? And Walker Buehler was phenomenal yesterday. He really, really was incredibly impressive in a key game, in a big-time game. All right, let me look at some of your comments here. Dodgers have pitched 9 consecutive scoreless innings. 9 consecutive scoreless innings. Will Smith has called 4 shutouts this postseason. Let me get a couple more here. I want to find stuff specifically on Buehler, because I got to imagine there's a lot of Dodger fans out there that maybe this is not what they were seeing, but or they didn't expect, but got to give that man credit. Walker, a pro. One of the things I'll say about Walker Buehler as well, and I think you guys will kind of know where I'm coming from on this. If you think about his situation, think about how much success he's had already in baseball. And he is, I want to look at his age real quick. I think 26 maybe. Oh, no, that's right. He's a lot older. Walker Buehler's 30 years old. Why was I thinking so much younger? Walker Buehler's 30 years old. But the one thing Walker Buehler has not had yet is that big contract. Walker Buehler, I know the guy's making good money, don't get me wrong. But what Walker Buehler, I think in his career, he's made 30-ish, somewhere around there. But Walker Buehler, that's a player that a couple years ago, before all these surgeries, if I told you, hey, this guy's about to sign a $150 million deal, you'd be like, yeah, that's what, good pitchers get a lot of money. Especially a guy with that much experience, especially a guy that likes pitching in high leverage situations. I mean, hell, look at Max Scherzer and Verlander. Guys like that are still getting these big checks, even as they're approaching age 40. Walker Buehler's situation was very odd. Walker Buehler's situation was he had all this success, and then all of a sudden you had all these injuries and the 2 Tommy Johns, and then he's going to become a free agent this year. So these moments for him in the playoffs are also helping him potentially land himself a contract. And, you feel for a guy like that that's had as much success as he had, but the timing was just bad. And then he's had all the surgeries that he's had. Will he still be able to get a good amount of money from some team and some type of contract, even if it's just for a few years or whatever the case is? I think he's proving in the playoffs that, no, I still got stuff. You could still rely on me, and I'm doing it in the biggest situations. And maybe I'm going a little too far on this, but I do think that there was something about Game 3 against the Padres. You guys remember when he gives up those runs and he comes back into the dugout and he's, throwing water bottles and whatever, not water bottles, the water cooler, whatever the hell he was throwing. He was ticked off in the dugout. But then he got to go back out there because the score was 6-5. As in, his night wasn't done giving up 6 runs. Teoscar hits that grand slam. Then there was a key moment in the game as well where Tatis was coming up, and instead of going to the bullpen, Dave Roberts walks out on the mound, and basically looks at Walker Buehler, looks at Will Smith, and is like, you guys figure it out. You're not going anywhere. And he goes back to the dugout. Those are important moments. And I know you might not be thinking about that yesterday. I know you might not be thinking about even this morning, thinking of Walker Buehler. But I actually really think small moments like that can have an incredible impact on an athlete or a player or whatever the case is. When your manager throws you back in and you deliver, um, when he has that moment against Tatis, this is a righty on righty matchup. This is Tatis just a couple innings before. Might have even been the next at bat, had hit that 2-run homer off of Walker Buehler, and he decides, no, I'm going to keep you in this game. Little things like that, I think, have impact, and Walker Buehler obviously delivering right now for the Dodgers. LA over New York in 6 in the World Series. You think baseball? You think baseball is looking forward to getting Dodgers and the Yankees? I mean, I personally thought the ratings would be higher if it was Padres Guardians. That's my personal opinion. I don't know how most people feel about that, but I think Padres Guardians would have drew higher than Shohei versus Soto and Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole and Yamamoto and Mookie. My personal opinion. I could be wrong, but I just want you guys to know something here. I'm almost never wrong, ever. And if I am wrong, I just turn off my computer and I don't communicate with anybody. I'm going to sip a cup of Joe here. Man, if you guys saw my cousin's Starbucks order yesterday, I almost lost it. He's a grown-ass man. He's got 3 kids, successful business, has full families, doing his thing. And his Starbucks order, I'm going to tell you guys later what his Starbucks order. What happened to just ordering a cup of coffee? What happened? Do people not do that anymore? All right, Buehler has the luxury to be around and learn from elite pitchers, such as Zach Greinke, Kershaw, Maeda, and Hill. Let's not forget whose pitching coach is Mark Pryor. Yeah, but can I tell you something, Mike? And I think there's some truth to what you're talking about here. He also has he's got certain pitchers, players, athletes, certain people, the higher the stakes are, the more comfortable they are. And that's kind of Buehler, and I don't know if you could teach that. Listen, maybe he's able to learn some things, of course, from some of these great pitchers, but did Walker Buehler, when he was in his prime a couple years ago, when he got the ball in any situation, most Dodger fans felt very comfortable about that situation. There's another Hall of Famer in that same dugout, and Clayton Kershaw, they didn't feel the same way. So I think it's not just – I really don't think it's just what he's learned from other pitchers. I think certain people have something in their DNA, and I think he's kind of shown it. I mean, who knows? Somebody in Walker Buehler's situation who had 2 Tommy John surgeries, who got off to such an awful start, earlier in the year. Remember, he basically went on his own, kind of ended up going through his own regimen, kind of left the Dodgers to kind of go try to figure it out. This man, you got to give the guy a lot of credit. You really, really do have to give the guy a lot of credit. And I don't think it's just what he learned from others. I think some people just have it in their DNA. I really do. It must irk sad DA. Oh, so clever. That their prodigal son Skalij has returned and has to recap the Dodgers' dominance in the postseason. Well, I think that wasn't the plan. I think Padres, I thought they were going to win. Hey, if I got Padre fans out there, well, I got another channel. It's called San Diego Sports Talk. John Quintero's on that channel. Yesterday, I put a video up talking about the Padres. We got another channel for San Diego. And this one, I'm going to put up whatever I want to talk about, to be honest with you. But it has a lot of Southern California, a lot of LA people on this channel because it was built talking Lakers basketball. So, serving the audience here. All right, I got another thing that I want to get into here real quick. Did the Dodgers do they have starting pitching? Is all of a sudden starting pitching for the Dodgers becoming a strength? Is that a real thing? Because let me tell you what the weakness was supposed to be for the Dodgers. The weakness for the Dodgers was supposed to be their starting pitching. I think I heard John Smoltz yesterday on the broadcast. And Smoltz was saying something to the effect, they're talking about how coming into the postseason, it was, I think they were talking about Buehler. There was an angle there on Buehler. But what they were saying was, when they looked at the starting pitching coming into the playoffs, it's like you got, all right, Yamamoto's only had 4 starts since he was out for almost 3 months. Jack Flaherty is not the same Jack Flaherty that he was in St. Louis, but give the guy a lot of credit. He's balling right now too. And there was a lot of doubts on this Dodgers playoff run because they don't have starting pitching. Glasnow is out. Stone is out. Kershaw can't pitch. They got a number of guys that are not available. Even, if you want to look at some relievers right now, Vesio's out for this series. Dodgers are not going to be able to make a true legitimate World Series run because they don't have starting pitching. Well, let me tell you about the starting pitching that now all of a sudden is looking like it's becoming a strength for the Dodgers. And if you're any of these teams that are left in the postseason and you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, let me just get this right. So the Dodgers are missing their ace. They're missing other rotational players that can add just incredible depth to that pitching rotation. They already have one of the most ridiculous lineups in all of baseball when it comes to what their bats are. You know what their bullpen is, and now all of a sudden we got to worry about their starting pitching. The Dodgers have some starting pitching. They're all of a sudden becoming one of their strengths for the Dodgers is becoming their starting pitching. I don't know how long it's going to last for. If Yamamoto goes back to the Yamamoto where he gave up 5 runs against the Padres in game 1, then it's a different conversation. If Jack Flaherty runs into some trouble against the Mets, then it's a completely different conversation. But here's what I can tell you. Here's what the starting pitching has done so far for the Los Angeles Dodgers in the playoffs. Starting pitching. Walker Buehler, I already told you guys, he had in his last start yesterday what he was able to do, 4 innings, 3 hits, 6 Ks for Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler was depending on, I hope the ball is hit at somebody. Now, all of a sudden, Walker Buehler is striking out guys. Yamamoto pitched game 5 for the Los Angeles Dodgers against the Padres, went 5 innings, 2 hits, 0 earned runs, and was fantastic against the San Diego Padres in game 5. Jack Flaherty, his last start was game 1 against the Mets, 7 innings, 2 hits, 0 earned runs, and had 6 Ks. The Dodgers, it feels like all of a sudden have starting pitching. If one of their strengths starts becoming the starting pitching, and listen, I'm not telling you that that's going to be there every single night because I have no idea if it's going to be, but over this stretch of 5-6 games, their starting pitching has been a threat, and their starting pitching has been good. And now all of a sudden they kind of find themselves in a position here where I think they're in the driver's seat. I really do. I think they're in the driver's seat. I think they'll have a real series against the Yankees because I think the Yankees are as much of a threat as the Dodgers. But I don't know what Vegas has them right now. They can put a stranglehold on this series tonight. And I think, one of the things that the Mets have been able to do is they've been able to carry momentum. I don't know how talented the Mets are, but I know that the Mets have played really good baseball. They got a lot of guys they've been able to depend on, but they've also been able to just ride this momentum and confidence. If the Dodgers find themselves in a position tonight, they're up 2-0, they're up 3-0, they're starting to take the heart out of the New York Mets. It's going to be a very short series. And, whether it's 5 games or 6 games, I think the Dodgers are going to win the series anyways. But they're starting, and it could happen tonight if Yamamoto has one of those nights, they're starting to take the heart out of kind of what is the pulse of the New York Mets. They've been riding that confidence. And I don't know what's going to happen tonight, but I do know that the Dodgers are sitting in an unbelievable position. All right, I want to play something here for you guys here real quick. This guy's coffee order, man, I can't get over it. His Starbucks coffee order. I'm going to wait till the end to give you guys a coffee order. I'm still confused of what the hell this guy ordered. All right, let me play you guys something here. Okay, I'll share you guys my screen here. You guys see what I'm seeing? There's this new guy. His name is Shohei Ohtani. He's not bad. Pretty good baseball player, this guy. Shohei hit a 3-run homer yesterday. You know why I'm playing this? I'm playing it for one reason. It had nothing to do with the game. The game was already decided. The game was already over. Shohei Ohtani, we know the stat. When there's nobody on, he can't hit, at least in his last 19 at-bats. When you put guys on, or maybe it's more than now, it's probably 20 or 21. You put guys on, he bats 994. Okay, it's his three-run homer. The game yesterday had nothing to do with Shohei's home run. Kike Hernandez and Tommy Edman won the game yesterday along with Walker Buehler. Those three players won the game yesterday. And Shohei, watching him hit a 3-run homer and seeing it Shohei Ohtani, and it's in New York, and it's at Citi Field, there's a cool vibe to that just comes with Shohei Ohtani. Had nothing to do with the game. Game was already decided. Tommy Edman, a name that nobody really thought we were going to be talking about, has been a real true threat for the Los Angeles Dodgers. You know, this guy so far in the postseason has 9 hits, 5 RBIs, and is batting .320, and he's that down in the lineup. And I can't compare what he's batting because I don't know off the top of my head, and I should have done this, but I don't know what his average and the amount of hits is compared to Will Smith or Max Muncy or Freddie, bad example, or Mookie Betts or even Shohei. I don't know. I just know that every time that I'm watching the Dodgers, I feel like Tommy Edman is on base. Okay. And this is somebody that didn't play for basically a year and is having real impact for the Dodgers in the postseason. Kike Hernandez ended the game yesterday with his 2-run homer. Ended the game. The game was over. Shohei's 3-run homer, cool. It makes for great Sports Center highlights. You know, I'm sure every outlet out there is saying, look at Shohei hit his home run. Oh, my gosh, look at the way he pulled it. Is that fair? Is it foul? It's Shohei freaking Ohtani. Cool. It didn't matter. Kike Hernandez ended the game with his two-run homer. This guy, so far in the playoffs, is only in the lineup because of injuries. I can't remember who it was. It was Joe Davis or John Smoltz mentioned it yesterday, but they were basically talking about how and by the way, is this not baseball? Somebody comes in because somebody else is out, and then all of a sudden this guy just takes off. Kike has added a completely different element to this team, period. And I had to see it when they were playing the San Diego Padres. He had clutch at-bats. Obviously, in Game 5, we know of his solo home run off Darvish. Kike hit his 15th career postseason home run yesterday. His numbers in the playoffs are absolutely absurd. And other than Walker Buehler doing what he did yesterday in those 4 innings and that moment where he struck out Lindor, other than Tommy Edman being on base, it seems like every single time. What was it? It was Game 2 where Tommy Edman had 3 hits in that game. Nobody else did anything. Other than Walker Buehler and Edman, Kike ended the game yesterday when he hit that 2-run homer. Did it not just feel like, if you were watching that game and you just saw the energy in New York, Citi Field was done. Everyone just kind of collapsed after that Kike Hernandez 2-run homer. This guy so far in postseason, in 5 games, batting .313 and has 5 hits. I don't know what his RBIs are, but it feels like every big moment for the Dodgers so far this postseason, Kike or Tommy Edman have some type of pulse in it. I'm not telling you Freddie Freeman's not a stud. I'm not telling you that Will Smith hasn't had some moments. I'm not telling you that Shohei's 3-run homer, Mookie Betts this. I get that. Those guys get paid to do that. Tommy Edman and Kike Hernandez, I don't think anybody thought coming into the postseason the impact those 2 players are going to have. Go look at any team that's won a World Series in X amount of years. You always got to have guys that maybe you're not talking about that go off in the playoffs. There's your 2 guys for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Those two dudes have been pretty. It's been pretty damn impressive. That's all I could tell you. It's been pretty damn impressive. Dodgers will once again be the underdogs in the World Series if you get there. It's not we. Don't include me in the we. If you get there. We talked about this yesterday. Remember yesterday when I said my team right now is at an all-inclusive resort in Cancun? You guys remember that? There's no we here. It's you. All right, let's see what else we got here. Fox had a graphic on Kike. I see Yankees plus 110 Dodgers. I don't know if Yankees will be favorites. I don't know. I don't know if they'll be favorites. I actually wouldn't be surprised at all if the Dodgers are still favorites going into the World Series. By the way, I know that um, I know that's still talking way too. I mean, Mets could tie up the series tonight, and anything can happen from there. But the momentum, no question about it, is with the Dodgers right now, and I fully expect them. If it ain't 5 games, it's going to be 6 games, and they're going to get there. They're going to find their way into the World Series. Love Tommy Edman. That dude is just a freaking professional baseball player. Max Muncy. I keep seeing the Max Muncy stat for a game. For game 3, 5 at bats, 3 walks, 2 hits, a home run, RBI. You can't if all these other guys get going too. I mean, that's one of the things with the Dodger lineup. It's that's one of the thing with the Dodgers lineup. Man, Dodger fans are pretty funny. That's one of the things with the Dodgers lineup is you have so many guys that could contribute on any given night. And all of a sudden, if you got some of these other players later in the order that are doing it, it's pretty damn impressive. All right, want to welcome in my buddy. Sammy Long is going to be joining us right here. Sammy, you there? You present? There he is. There he is. Sammy in the mix here. All right, there he is.
Alan Sleeper.
Up, brother.
What's going on? I apologize for the hair. I just got off some waves from surfing this morning. You know what I mean?
All right. Whatever it takes here. Whatever it takes here. So Sammy, as everybody knows, is hustling. He's doing some work on the back end here of this channel, and he's also doing a lot of stuff getting us ready for the Lakers season coming up. So little Lakers preview as he put up a video yesterday. Lakers taking on the Suns. And then we'll continue to talk Lakers. And I got some Dodger questions for him as well. All right, Sammy. So, okay, let's kind of start with this. And I do want to shift. I'm going to eventually go back to the Dodgers and continue to talk about, obviously their Game 4 coming up against the Mets. But I do want to shift, do a little Lakers basketball. So you put up a preview video yesterday. Lakers taking on the Phoenix Suns a little bit later today. Only 2 more preseason games left until the regular season starts. Let me just kind of ask you an overall broad question about the Lake Show. What's been some of your takeaways in preseason basketball? What are some of the things you noticed, you liked, you disliked? What are some of those things that you've noticed?
I think JJ Redick sounded good at the presser. And I know that that's not really a surprise. Obviously, he was at ESPN, was really good there. I love that they're trying to take a lot of threes. I know they went 11 for 40 the other night. It hasn't totally worked out so far in these preseason games, but I really like that they're being aggressive because it was just a problem last year. The Lakers, I believe, were number 2 in points in the paint last year, but they just got literally outscored by teams who were shooting threes and the Lakers were shooting twos. So it's nice to see that they are transitioning with the NBA. And I love old school basketball too. I like the traditional bigs. So that's good to see. The bench was not super exciting the other night. Max Christie, 0 points. Gabe Vincent. Dalton Connect was great with 19. I mean, I think that's been my biggest takeaway positively is that he's not scared of fire. I mean,
can I say something on Connect real quick? I think the Dalton thing, tell me if you agree with this. That guy's taking a lot of shots. I think in the last game the Lakers had, if he did not take the most shots on the team, he was second in shot attempts. Do you think they've basically told Dalton Connect, hey, use this preseason to take as many shots as you want, get as comfortable as you want, because we're going to need you once the regular season starts, and you might as well get as many reps now, which is, not that common for a number 17 pick that's going to be, I think it's clear they're going to be using him. He's going to be part of the rotation. Do you think that has a lot to do with it?
Totally. And let's remember, Dalton Connect wasn't supposed to fall to the Lakers. He was supposed to be a lotto pick. Some people had him in mock drafts going as high as number 6 overall. So this was a guy that they thought could come in and play. He spent 4 years in college, had that huge game against Purdue in the tournament where he had 39 points. So, I do think some of the expectations might be a little unfair due to the rest of the team not being great on the bench and providing scoring. But hopefully he can live up to it because, like you said, this is the time to take all the shots you want. They say it in the NFL, you hear guys in the preseason, they'll be throwing interceptions. They're like, oh, they threw 5 interceptions at practice today. It's like that's the time to do it. That's the time to take risks on certain routes that you wouldn't necessarily throw in a game. I just like that he's not scared to fire, and the moment doesn't seem too big for him.
Yeah, I'm a fan too. I'm with you. And here's my only concern with you said something about JJ Redick, and I think it's a good point. You said that in today's modern NBA, it's not your traditional big, you post up. That's not what today's NBA is. So the Lakers do need to get a little bit more updated with what today's NBA is. Today's NBA is kind of take as many shots as you can. You're firing up as many threes as you can. Of course, you still got to play defense. Do Lakers have the personnel? Because after every preseason game, I feel like I'm looking at the stats and I'm looking at 3-point attempts and I'm looking at percentage. Do they have the personnel to accomplish what they'd like to accomplish? I understand they want to play in today's modern NBA, but do they have today's players to match that?
They should. And that kind of starts, I think, with Gabe Vincent, because he was paid to come in here to be a sharpshooter. And we saw what he did in 2022 with the Heat. I mean, him was probably the second best player outside of Jimmy Butler on that team and the hottest in the postseason. So he was really brought to be a 3-point specialist. That didn't happen last year, but it was mostly because of injuries. He never could get a rhythm. Came back at the end of the year, but that's tough to ask a guy with a week or two left to then come in and hit big shots in Denver. Definitely, I think Max Christie, if this team goes far, will take a big step in development. JJ Redick got him that 4-year, $32 million contract. That was one of the first things he did. So we clearly see something in him. I do think they have the personnel, but it comes down to like lineups. I think that's going to be a big thing. Who's closing the game? Are they just going with the 5? Are they going to give the bench time to gel, or is it going to be a quick leash like last year, which to Darvin Ham's credit, last year, the bench didn't provide much help at all. But this bench is a lot younger and not just filled with veterans that I think you got to give them some time to gel.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to throw some players at you. You tell me if they're going to have a lot of time in the rotation. So I think it's safe to say Gabe Vincent off the bench. You think he's going to be used a lot this year?
Yeah, and the contract warrants that. But he can't.
Okay.
If he's sitting on the bench, that's a complete miss by Pelinka.
By Pelinka in the front office. Okay, so this is why I'm doing it. I'm trying to think how deep the Lakers will go with their bench. So Gabe is in. Vando, I think we both agree, once he's healthy, Vando is a key piece, and you got to have a player like that. Most teams who compete got a player like that where they're a defensive specialist. So there's 2 right there. Max Christie. What kind of how much run do you think Max Christie is going to get this year? And by the way, what if he struggles? What if he's not playing well in the beginning? What if he looks a little bit like he's not comfortable in the moment, or they're not doing what he does? How long is that leash for Christie, you think?
I think it's pretty long because of the contract. Had he not gotten the contract, it might be pretty short, but you don't give a guy $8 million a year. And that may not sound like a ton in today's NBA, but with the salary cap, those are important. He's an important player now. And so I think there will be a leash. And I'm excited that JJ Redick's made a point in all his pressers to develop Max Christie, because it didn't seem like Darvin Ham last year was at all interested, no matter what Max Christie did in games. I think if you could get 12 to 14 points from Max Christie a night off the bench, that would be like a dream scenario.
Okay. Cam Reddish, they going to use him or no?
That all depends on if Vanderbilt's healthy. I think until Vanderbilt gets back, he'll get used. He's just kind of a poor man's Vanderbilt, so I don't know why you play him too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's going to get that much run as well. Jalen Hood-Schifino is getting run or no?
I think they're going to try to give him some looks, but he hasn't really shown that he deserves more. So I think maybe some limited action, and hopefully he can live up to the hype he had coming out of Indiana, but it hasn't looked too good so far.
All right, connect. He's getting run?
Lots of run. I think he could be the 6th man of this team. I really believe that, and it's going to take a little time, but I think he's going to play a lot.
Those are basically your 9, and then I guess the question is going to be Jackson Hayes, how they use him. That would be 10. Christian Wood. I actually think Christian Wood's going to get run. The reason why I set it up like that is because the one thing I think the Lakers have is there's guys on this roster that I don't think they were expecting to have on this roster, but they gave them player options last year. And all those players, Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes, there's guys out there that basically they were banking on the Lakers to have some success with them, so then they can go get a contract somewhere else. Contracts didn't appear, so they had to take that player option with the Lakers. JJ Redick's already said he's going to play about 9 guys, so There's 11, 12 on the roster that probably think they should be getting playing time, but that's not realistic. That's not going to happen. And I agree with you with Max Christie and Dalton Connect. I agree that those two players should get run, probably will get run. The question is just going to be, how long of a leash? Are the Lakers winning games? Are they not winning games? Is there going to be this? No, I got to depend more on veterans than I can the young guys.
Yeah.
I think all that stuff's going to be answered over time.
Yeah, and I think you brought up a good point with the Christian Wood, Jackson Hayes is interesting to me. When Christian Wood, is fully healthy, like who's going to get that? Because the Lakers, Shams Charania has been reporting they're looking at a center. They got Koloko. He's kind of a wild card. A lot of teams wanted him. He's dealing with the blood clot right now, and they hope that he's going to come back somewhat soon. So I know that they thought of him as kind of a rotational reserve / player, but I want to know who steps up at the second spot at center, because Jackson Hayes, I do think, has a lot of pop in his game, and Christian Wood's pretty good defensively, or has gotten better defensively. He used to be not be very good, and also has some offensive output.
All right, Lakers got the Suns coming up tonight. So, by the way, I will be doing a post-game show tonight. So, if you're around tonight and want to talk Lakers basketball, we'll throw one of those up. It really has nothing to do with the actual game. Like I've seen in some of these comments, people sit back and are like, what have they said? They said something to the effect of, man, when is preseason going to end? What is this? I'm with everybody. Like preseason basketball might be one of the least exciting things to watch on TV. However, you got to get through these 6 games. I don't really care about tonight's game in the sense of who wins, who loses, because I don't think anybody does. Lakers Suns. Phoenix is an interesting team. Lakers are an interesting team. I don't think anybody thinks either one of these teams are going to be sitting in the top 4 in the West. Both teams have star power. They have new head coaches, one a lot more experienced, obviously Mike Budenholzer with the Phoenix Suns, JJ Redick with the Lakers. When the dust settles, who's a more dangerous team, the Lakers or the Suns?
I'm going to go Lakers, and not just being a homer, because
he's a homer. He's a homer.
I'll admit I'm a little bit of a homer. But I do think that the Lakers are a more dangerous team. If you ask me in a one-game scenario, Phoenix is one of the most dangerous teams in the league, because Kevin Durant and Booker could get you 40 each on any night.
Yeah.
But they don't have a lot of depth. I mean, it's Nurkic, it's that starting 5. And the problem with that team is I think they're going to have a lot what happened to the Lakers last year, where they're going to have to play the whole season. Kevin Durant's been injury prone. Bradley Beal has certainly not lived up to his contract, and that contract's really immovable. No one wants it because it just takes up all the cap. They'd have to dump picks along with him to even get that off the roster. So they got a rookie, Chris Dunn, who has played well in camp so far. Apparently he's like, or Ryan Dunn, excuse me. He's had more threes than he had his whole time at Virginia. So they're kind of excited about him, but they have to play the whole season. I just don't think they can do that. I think the Lakers bench is a lot deeper than the Suns bench, in my opinion.
All right, so how about this? You were talking about Bradley Beal, and by the way, that's the only thing that I've looked at with the Lakers. I'm curious. I'll use as an example. They played Golden State on Tuesday. The Warriors, look, they're a machine, and it doesn't mean that they have the pieces to continue to make that machine work the way they have in the past. I don't believe they will, but everybody knows what they're doing. Everybody has a role. Obviously Steve Kerr knows what he's doing. Steph Curry's this, that. I look at the Lakers and the Warriors. I'm like, all right, well, I wonder what that's going to look like in the regular season. The Warriors don't have size. We all know that, and that's going to always hurt them. The Suns, there's only one basketball. So you can have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, but the resources that they went out to go trade for Bradley Beal, this dude, by the way, I'm looking at his contract right now. Look how crazy this is. Bradley Beal is going to make $50 million this year, $53.5 million next year, and then $57 million. He's on the books till 2026, 2027. He is not only is he not the player that he used to be, but there's just no point of having another scorer, which is what Bradley Beal is. I don't think the Suns scare me. I don't think the Warriors scare me, but I also don't know how many teams are looking at the Lakers and saying the Lakers scare them. I mean, Lakers need so many things to go right, I think, to have great success this year. But between kind of looking at the Western Conference right now, where do you think the Lakers land in the West?
I think the Lakers can realistically get up to the 5 seed or lower. I think that Minnesota's definitely a better team. Oklahoma City's definitely better. I think got to give Dallas is better. They're younger. There's another team I'm forgetting in there, but I do think they're hanging around the Warrior kind of Suns. These are teams with a lot of talent that are older. They're more veteran presence that I think that they do definitely pace themselves throughout the year. So some of the younger teams like Oklahoma City, I mean, their guys just play every game because they're all like 25 years old,
Sure,
24 years
sure.
old. They don't really have that problem of needing rest and things like that. I think Minnesota definitely got better with the DiVincenzo and Julius Randle ad. I actually think that makes getting Ant a shooter next to him and not just him and no one else can score. Really improves them. I think they can get. I think if you're the Lakers, you just have to get out of the play-in. If there's a way that you can comfortably sit in the 5 to 6 to 7 spot and not be worrying
Even 7,
the whole
you can't
time.
do it because I think 7 they've had that the last couple of years. But
Oh
I
yeah,
do,
7's probably, yeah.
but I do agree 5 or 6 would be the ideal situation just to avoid that play-in. In hell, I mean, is there a scenario that plays out for the Lakers where the last week of the season they can maybe take a second to take a breather? They haven't had that in I don't know how many years. I feel like the Lakers have owned the play-in tournament. Like they basically have a spot in the play-in tournament every year.
Yeah, we could hang a banner in the play-in tournament. It's pretty like in that extra. You saw it in the Nuggets series. I mean, the Lakers lost in 5 games. How many times every time you do the post-game show, it was, well, if this play went differently, and the Lakers looked gassed in the fourth quarter of those games, and you just thought that the months of having to play games, when the Nuggets were just kind of coasting for the last couple of weeks, they're just kind of running through the motions, and I think that definitely showed in that series.
All right, Lakers got the Phoenix Suns coming up tonight. Preseason game, biggest preseason game in Lakers history. I mean, this is it. I mean, if you guys aren't watching this game tonight, I don't know what you guys are doing. I don't know what you guys are doing. But Lakers, they got a preseason game coming up. Sammy, all season long, is going to be doing these preview videos. So keep an eye out for them. Basically, he's going to, as best as he can, get you ready for the upcoming game. So clearly those will become more and more meaningful once the regular season starts. So keep an eye out for that. He's got one out right now. All right, Sammy, I know you're a huge sports fan in general, but you're a big baseball fan as well. How shocked, surprised, or maybe not surprised were you at all that Walker Buehler goes 4 innings for the Dodgers? I know 4 innings isn't crazy, but 4 innings, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, and 6 Ks for the Dodgers. What'd you think yesterday?
He was unreal. I mean, he had 18 swing and misses. He threw 7 breaking balls, and he got 6 to be complete misses. I mean, like, the Dodgers haven't seen that in a minute. And watching all the Dodger games, it's pretty. They haven't had that kind of pitching, and it was just cool to see a guy in Walker Buehler who was elite, was one of the best pitchers in baseball, and has dealt with so much. I listened to his post game, on-field interview with Tom Verducci. It was like he gave the most honest interview. He's like, yeah, it sucks. The last few years I've been dealing with Tommy John, and then to come back and not be helping the team and worrying if I'm even going to make the playoff roster spot, and probably made it just because of the injuries to Gavin Stone and Tyler Glasnow and guys like that. It was cool to see him on the road too in a big moment. I mean, that's what the Mets live for. They have bases loaded. There's 1 out, and they get Alvarez out, and then Lindor comes up. That's like the script for how the Mets
was a game.
It was
that
the
was
game.
A game right there. Mm-hmm.
And you killed all the momentum in the stadium. You could just hear a pin drop after that. It was just totally deflated. And to get it on a swing and miss on a 3-2 count, it's cool to see Walker Buehler having success because he really was one of the great pitchers a few years ago.
Yeah, listen, I go back to it, and he has. If you listen to him during the season, he had a lot of moments where he was so critical of himself, and he was so honest with himself and sounded so lost of what the solution is. There were times where I think Dave Roberts he was very blunt. And I think maybe that's the relationship those two have. They've worked with each other long enough and have such history together that Dave Roberts can be blunt and just be like, yeah, he's not good enough right now. Yeah. And Walker Buehler could be blunt and say, yeah, I don't know. It's almost like he was searching for an answer and had no answer. But what you said there about, hey, it was cool for him to do it on the road. He's one of the few players that I feel like the bigger the situation is, the environment, everybody against him, I don't think that has any effect on him. I think his biggest question mark was just, does he still have his stuff? Does he still have good enough stuff where these professional bats that are in the Mets lineup or last round against the San Diego Padres, can I still get them guessing a little bit? And
Yeah.
I feel like that confidence is slowly but surely is building back up for him.
I read a thing on ESPN about how they were looking at Walker Buehler before the playoffs, why it hasn't worked out so well. And I think they took his fastball down from like a 97.6 miles per hour to like 95.6. So it's lost 2 miles per hour. And they're saying it's allowing hitters time to catch up where they couldn't have before. Just kind of work on that slider, the knuckle curve, things like that. And you look back at that Padre game. I mean, he got it was 6-0. And when you remember that game, it was the throwing error from Freddie Freeman that hit Manny Machado.
Yep.
Then Miguel Rojas had a chance on the next batter to turn a double play. He got hurt, so that didn't happen. And then the bomb to Tatis. So I think people kind of were like, "Oh, well, here we go." Like Dodgers have no pitching besides Yamamoto at the time. Didn't even know because he didn't look great in Game 1, and then obviously was excellent in Game 5 and Flaherty. But it was cool to see, and it's big for the Dodgers. If you have a third starter in Buehler that you can rely on to even get 4 or 5 innings, you know how dominant the Dodgers bullpen is. You don't need him to go 7, but you can't have a guy getting pulled in the second inning and then it's from here on out. You're going through all your arms.
No, it's crazy. They're all of a sudden looking like a team that has starting pitching, and that was supposed to be their biggest weakness. Yamamoto in Game 5, great. Jack Flaherty in Game 1, great. Walker Buehler, I know 4 innings, it's tough to say great, and he did have traffic on there, but I think was great for Walker Buehler. And like you said, your third starter. They all of a sudden have some starters that they can rely on. All right, Game 4 tonight. What's your thoughts on this upcoming game, and just kind of your overall thoughts? We may not talk again, even if it's next week. They're gonna, they're cranking out these games. What's your overall thoughts on the rest of this series?
I thought last night was huge for the Dodgers to win a game where it felt like that was a chance for the Mets to put the Dodgers in a hole because you looked at the pitching matchup and that was kind of a toss-up. People might have given the edge to Severino. They were the slight favorite heading into the game. Then it went to a pick 'em on the betting lines. But tonight, Yamamoto, I agree. Will Smith called a great game as well. Yamamoto tonight, and then you have Flaherty. So this is your chance to close it out. You have to obviously win one and send it back to LA. That'd be a tough. If you win tonight or Friday, I think that's a tough ask for the Mets to win Sunday and Monday in Los Angeles. But you are going through your best arms in the next 2 days, so it is a little bit pressure on the Dodgers. But I think the fact that Dave Roberts, to give him some credit, and I know he's been kind of demolished.
No, he should get credit this playoffs. I mean, he really should. Yeah. I mean, I've been one that's very critical of him, and a lot of Dodger fans have. Well, you could do both. You can be critical at certain situations with the Dodgers. You can question decisions. You could question if the team, how fired up is it. You could question all that stuff, but you also should give credit where credit's due. You helped me find out what Dave Roberts has done wrong this postseason because I haven't seen it.
Exactly, and I think last night was even kind of a bold thing, bringing in Kopech in the 5th inning. And it was like, you're thinking of him as a closer. Maybe Trinan's kind of gone to the closer role. He's your most consistent guy with the best stuff. But Kopech's electric. When he's on, I mean, guys just literally can't hit him. You may be a little more wild than a Trinan, but he's in bringing him in the 5th, I think was genius because he was going through the top of the order after Lindor, the strikeout.
Right.
I mean, just kind of suffocated the Mets a little bit and didn't give them any chance. They've been the comeback Mets all year. So everyone's kind of waiting for, can they get one on? Can they get 2 on? And they just never gave them that opportunity.
All right, great stuff, buddy. Sammy will continue to be putting up these preview videos, so hang out with Sammy and do that. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you coming on.
You got coffee order coming up next? That's how we're closing the show?
I mean, there's Sammy, I don't know what happened, bro. I don't know what happened to just regular coffee orders. There used to be a time where coffee was just, hey, let me get a cup of coffee. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, the world has changed. So I had to order a cup of coffee for my cousin yesterday, and you would have thought that I was, I don't know, trying to come up with I was like drawing up a play in Game 7 of the NBA Finals or something. I mean, it's like I was Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl in the final drive. I didn't understand what the play call was. I had to put the phone on speaker. I'll get to it. I'm gonna get to it.
Real quick before we go, I had to the other day. I was at a Starbucks, and I've never seen this before. A girl showed the lady at the front just a picture of it. and was like, "Here, can you make this?" The girl's like, "I don't even know what's in it. I don't like what is it?" She's like, "I don't know. Just can you make it?" They're like, "Is it on the menu?" No. Like that is a pet peeve of mine.
Okay, I'm going to give Starbucks a lot of credit for this, and this is why they're a multi-billion-dollar whatever they are, and that's why there's a Starbucks every 3 blocks. They never really say no, right? They're just like, yeah. Sure, we could do that. Yeah, you want 3 extra pumps. I don't even know what that means, by the way. I don't know what when people say, when there's people in front of me that say, I want a couple extra pumps. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. If I were to say that, I would look at them and I'd have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
However, they accommodate. And then they just say, yeah, that's an extra, $1.50 there, an extra 50 cents here, extra 75 cents there. They accommodate.
Yeah, I'm a Starbucks guy. There's people have their own coffee shops. I'm like, let's go name brand. Let's just get it in the cup. It's nothing like a Starbucks cup,
Yeah. All right. Sammy, thank you, buddy. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll get with you soon.
Thank you, guys.
All right, brother. All right, that's Sammy Long right there. It's a good man right there. That's Sammy Long. It's a good long. It's a good man. It's a hard worker, that's Sammy Long. Check out his preview videos. The guy's grinding out there. He's making it happen. Once the regular season starts, I think those will be very useful getting ready for a game. All right, we can talk coffee. You guys want to do coffee here real quick? All right, let me tell you guys something real quick. So yesterday, I'm in El Cajon, California. It's my hometown, okay? And I told my cousin I was going to stop by. I was like, my cousin Julian is my cousin. I call him Jules. This is not cousin Slee. So I'm telling Julian, I'm like, hey, man, we'll go make a quick little stop at Starbucks. I like my little afternoon Starbucks, okay? My little afternoon, let me just get a quick cup of Joe and let's keep the day moving. So I end up, getting to the drive-through, and all of a sudden I'm telling my cousin, I'm like, oh, hey, what is it that you want? And he starts kind of rattling off this order. I'm like, Jules, what are you talking about? What do you want? Like, don't you just want a cup of coffee? He goes, all right, I want an extra, extra, extra hot white mocha, whole milk, 1 less shot, medium. I'm like, Jules, bro, what are you talking about? I can't remember what you just said. So I got to put the phone on speaker. So I put the phone on speaker. I've already pulled up to the window, so I'm right in front of the guy. I put the phone on speaker. And I'm like, hey, man, can you listen to my cousin's order? So he says it again, extra, extra hot, white mocha, a whole milk, whatever. He's doing his whole thing. And above him, the fan is on. You know how you got that fan that's there so flies don't get in? So he can't really hear. I got people behind me looking at me like, what is this guy ordering? I'm trying to communicate with them, saying, I'm not ordering it. This isn't my order. An extra, extra hot white mocha, whole milk, 1 less shot, medium. Bro, just get a cup of coffee. Just get a cup of coffee. What are we doing here? I have time to sit here and do all this. This guy in front of me has no idea what the hell you're ordering. This guy's a grown-ass man. He's got 3 kids, runs a successful business. He's got a great family at home. He's sitting there doing everything he's doing, and then he pulls up with an extra, extra hot white mocha, whole milk, 1 less shot, medium. Just get a cup of coffee. Is this the world that we live in now? I didn't know this. I mean, I've heard other people do it. When I go to Starbucks, I get a migraine here when people are ordering a cup of coffee. Just get a cup of coffee. I will give him this. By the way, my coffee was like maybe $2.85, something like that. I get his coffee. Total now is like $8.55. You got a $6 coffee? How do you get a $6 coffee? And why do you have so much stuff in it? Anyways, I don't know what to tell you. I just, I thought we lived in a world. I thought we lived in a society where things like this were done. No, they're not done. They're actually infiltrating. They're actually now they're starting to leak into other parts of the community. They got the Middle Eastern community. We might have been the last ones to go. They got the Middle Eastern community as well. People are asking Armenian coffee. We get strong coffee. Our coffee is very, very strong. It's good coffee. All right, game 4 coming up tonight. It's Yamamoto, Quintana for the New York Mets. Dodgers have a chance to put an absolute stranglehold on this series, and we'll see if they do it. I think obviously a lot of pressure on the Mets to stay around, A lot of pressure on the Mets to kind of continue a heartbeat. I have no idea if they'll be able to make it happen, but the Dodgers have been very, 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 very impressive. That's all I can say. I did not think, I've told you guys this before, I did not think the Dodgers, I thought the Padres had a real chance to beat them. The starting pitching, the bullpen, areas of the Dodgers I did not think were their strengths has been their strength. Somebody here, my regular Starbucks drink, grande iced peach iced tea with 5 punch of sugar-free vanilla. David, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. That sounds like a joke. I don't know. Is that a real order or not? Is Armenian coffee stronger than Vietnamese coffee? Actually, I don't think so. I think Vietnamese coffee is stronger. I think that's stronger. I don't know if anybody else has these, and I know there were a few people on here that Starbucks actually has a secret menu. Just Google and give them the ingredients. They'll make it. Now, I believe you. Starbucks, I believe you. All right, guys, that's all I got today. I appreciate you guys hanging out. 1 hour flies by on the show, but I like doing 1 hour. I do. I really like doing 1 hour. I think that's perfect. All right, we're gonna go ahead and yeah. Calm down there. Some comments. Yeah, I just got to taper it down a little bit. I'll be back tomorrow doing this again. I appreciate you guys hanging out for the full hour. Good amount of listeners on here, a good amount of fans doing it. I think tomorrow, obviously, we'll be breaking down Game 4. The Yankees got a game tonight as well, and then we're going to spend some time also talking Lakers basketball. Expect when the Lakers season starts, there will be a lot more Laker content for those that have been asking me, hey, Al, I want some more Lakers content. I'm cutting up a lot of these clips now, too, and I'm putting them on the channel. So if you want something that's just specific Lakers, I'm going to have something that's just specific SC. I did something a little bit earlier in the week on SC, so we'll put that out there. So thank you for hanging out. Get the hell off the channel, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Appreciate it, guys.